Welcome to Logic Lens. If you love AI, technology, robots, and the future, you're in the right place.
Like this video, subscribe to Logic Lens, share it with your friends, and follow us for more amazing tech discoveries. The AI war has begun. Who pulls the trigger when machines decide?
Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a transformation so massive and honestly so rapid that it's fundamentally altering the very nature of conflict. Based on the research we're diving into, the battlefield is shifting faster right now than at any point since the invention of gunpowder. We're looking at how advanced technology and artificial intelligence are merging to create a totally new paradigm in warfare. Just think about the sheer speed of decision-making for a second. Imagine systems that can analyze, prioritize, and execute strikes in the literal blink of an eye. This isn't some distant sci-fi future. It's a quiet revolution unfolding right now in classified labs and black site facilities all over the globe. Okay, let's dive into this. For centuries, warfare has been a deeply human endeavor, right? It's been defined by human courage, instinct, and the tragic, brutal arithmetic of human cost. But today, we're witnessing the birth of something entirely unprecedented. This quiet revolution is actively replacing that human element with a completely new kind of force. The world's most powerful militaries are building literal armies of machines. And you know what makes this new force so terrifyingly formidable? It's exactly what it lacks. These machines do not bleed, they do not tire out, and they absolutely do not question orders. Where a human soldier might hesitate because of morality, fear, or just pure exhaustion, a machine just executes the algorithm. It is shifting warfare from a contest of human will to a contest of raw computational efficiency. Section 1. The financial stakes. Funding the future. To truly grasp the scale of this quiet revolution, we gotta follow the money, because the financial backing here is nothing short of astronomical. Look at this. In 2024, the global military robotics market was already sitting at a staggering $20 billion. But by 2030, that is projected to surge past $35 billion. So what does that massive pile of cash actually represent? We aren't just buying better hardware here or faster remote controls. This capital is funding the creation of machines that can think, decide, and act entirely without human intervention. We're talking billions of dollars funneled directly into neural networks and machine learning designed specifically to autonomously navigate the sheer chaos of a battlefield. Section 2. Decades in the making, from observation to action. Let's move to and see how this builds, because while this recent explosion in funding is new, the dream of robotic warfare actually goes way back. During the Cold War, superpowers started experimenting with remote-controlled vehicles. By the 1960s, the CIA was already developing semi-autonomous spy drones. Now, by today's standards, those 1960s drones were incredibly crude, basically just flying cameras, right? They could observe, sure, but they couldn't make independent decisions. But innovation accelerates exponentially. Boom, 2017 hits, and the Pentagon launches Project Maven, blending advanced algorithms with surveillance. Fast forward to 2026, and we hit a tipping point. The Maven Smart system is actively striking thousands of targets. We've evolved from simple, passive observation in the sky to massive AI-driven, decisive action on the ground. Section 3. The AI Catalyst, a profound distinction. So what exactly bridged the gap between a flying camera in the 60s and a massive targeting system in the 2020s? Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the profound distinction it highlights, the difference between a tool and a participant. A drone just flying a pre-programmed path, that's a tool. It's executing a static script. Actually, scratch that, it's more like a really expensive flying wrench. But the moment you introduce artificial intelligence, the whole game changes. When a drone uses AI to actively identify targets, prioritize the biggest threats, and adapt on the fly in real time, it's no longer just a tool. It is an active participant in the conflict. Imagine a system that sees a convoy change its route, instantly calculates a new intercept vector, and decides to neutralize it, all in a fraction of a second. That shift from passive tool to active AI participant is absolutely crucial and frankly terrifying. Section 4. Project Maven Scale. Big data meets the battlefield. To really wrap our heads around what an AI participant looks like in action, we have to look at the Pentagon's Project Maven again. It took absolute oceans of surveillance imagery and turned it into actionable automated intelligence. 2,000. That's the number I want you to focus on. What started in 2017 as a big data tool evolved into an absolute powerhouse. In just one 96-hour campaign, this system helped deploy over 2,000 munitions against 2,000 distinct targets. To put that into perspective, how many human analysts would it take to make 2,000 life or death targeting decisions in just 4 days? You'd literally need buildings full of people staring at screens 24/7. It's an unprecedented volume of execution, made possible by AI processing data infinitely faster than the human mind. And as the source material explicitly notes, we really have to pause and remind ourselves of this stark reality. This is not science fiction. This is happening right now. It is so easy to look at AI targeting systems and think of them as some distant movie plot. But this paradigm shift, it's our current reality. The quiet revolution has already happened. The machines are already on the battlefield, processing the data and actively participating today. And why this matters to us is that the rules of global security are being rewritten right under our noses. This isn't some hypothetical problem for the next generation. It's actively shaping geopolitical power right this very second. Section 5. The Ultimate Moral Dilemma, the 21st Century's Urgent Challenge. And that reality brings us to the terrifying questions keeping military strategists awake at night. Because this isn't just a logistical upgrade, it is a profound ethical crisis. So we'll leave you with this final, unresolved question from the research. If a machine can identify a target, recommend its destruction, and ultimately, if a robot can pull the trigger without a single human in the loop, who bears responsibility for what it kills? At what exact point does the machine become the decision maker? Is it the programmer, the commanding officer, or the AI itself? The answers are not reassuring, and they remain completely unresolved. But as these autonomous systems rise, figuring this out might just be the most urgent moral challenge of our time. And it is already here. Thank you for joining me for this explainer.
We have incoming! Get those drones up now! Acoustic sensors detecting heavy caliber fire. Target acquired. Updating the grid map.
Welcome to This Explainer, how AI changes modern combat. If you've been following military tech, you know that for decades, stuff like combat algorithms and autonomous robots were basically just theoretical. Well, we are officially past the theory phase. Autonomous warfare isn't just something you read about in science fiction anymore. It is a present, operational reality, and it's deploying on battlefields right now. One of our sources hit the nail on the head with this line. The future of warfare is being built before our eyes, and that's exactly why we need to pay close attention. Today, we're going to take a global tour to see how artificial intelligence is literally changing the mechanics of how militaries operate. It's reshaping the entire strategic landscape. And honestly, understanding how these systems actually work is absolutely crucial for all of us.
Section 1. The Proving Ground. Ukraine's Secret Drone Labs.
The war in Ukraine has effectively become the world's first large-scale laboratory for AI-driven warfare, and the lessons coming out of there are just staggering. The human element driving this shift is really fascinating. Picture this. Inside these secret factories running around the clock, the German drone manufacturer Quantum Systems has set up a covert network of production hubs. In there, you've got teams of brilliant engineers, mostly in their 20s and 30s, working non-stop to challenge a massive Russian force. And they're doing it by out-innovating the traditional military giants. They are building low-cost, incredibly lethal drones, and more importantly, they're writing the sophisticated software that lets them fly autonomously. Thanks to AI, these machines can navigate and complete their missions even when GPS signals are completely jammed by electronic warfare.
Think about the number 80 for a second. In the context of building covert, high-tech military hardware in an active war zone, 80 is huge. These hidden hubs are assembling around 80 highly sophisticated reconnaissance drones every single month. That kind of manufacturing scale proves that AI combat tech is way out of the R&D phase. It is a mass-produced commodity driving daily combat operations. And the capabilities of these machines?
They are terrifyingly precise. We're talking way beyond your standard remote-controlled flying camera. Equipped with AI and specialized acoustic sensors, these drones can detect enemy artillery positions by sound alone from miles away. They are literally listening for the enemy. They process those audio signatures completely on their own and hunt down targets without a human ever needing to look through a lens or pull a trigger.
So what's the big motivation behind all this innovation? It's a fundamental shift in the calculus of war. The ultimate goal is to get human soldiers out of the kill zone and replace them entirely with ground robots and autonomous drones. Militaries are actively designing systems to take over the most dangerous reconnaissance and combat roles, which completely changes how commanders weigh the cost of spending technological resources versus spending human lives.
Section 2. The Hive Mind, China's Robotic Wolf Packs. Shifting our focus across the globe to China, we're seeing a massive evolution in AI integration. Individual units are scaling up into something way more complex. Chinese state media has been documenting advanced military robotic canine units that aren't just single machines following isolated orders anymore. They operate with a shared brain. Connected through a collective sensing network, these robotic wolves collaborate and make joint decisions autonomously. They're designed to seamlessly coordinate complex tasks together, which is a huge advantage in the sheer chaos of urban warfare.
Because they share a collective intelligence, this wolf pack divides complex battlefield tasks among highly specialized variants. The Shadow variant sneaks ahead to run reconnaissance. Then comes the intensely named Bloody variant, moving in to neutralize targets using micromissiles and automatic rifles. Finally, the Polar variant follows up to handle logistical support. Just think about what this means for the future of combat. You could have a fully coordinated multi-role robotic squad clearing a hostile city block without risking a single human casualty on their side. How do you even defend against a team that shares a single mind?
Now, humans haven't been completely removed from this loop just yet. The idea right now is to turn human soldiers into pack leaders. Operators can actively direct these robotic packs in the field using some really intuitive methods. They can shout simple voice commands, use specialized tactical gloves to direct movement with just the wave of the hand, or even use controls mounted right on their rifles. It creates this seamless integration between flesh and blood commanders and an autonomous robotic strike force.
Just to ground this in physical reality, consider the sheer mechanical threat these machines represent. A top speed of 15 kilometers per hour, that is significantly faster than a heavily geared soldier can sprint in combat conditions. Combine that with a payload capacity of 25 kilograms, which is more than enough to carry heavy munitions and advanced weaponry, speed, strength, and an AI-driven shared mind, that makes for a formidable adversary in any scenario.
Section 3. The Autonomy Stack, DARPA's Racer Program.
Moving across the Pacific, the U.S. Pentagon is taking a deeply fascinating and radically versatile approach. DARPA's Racer program isn't trying to build one specific, perfect robotic tank. It's a software-first approach. They are building what they call an autonomy stack. Basically, this is a highly adaptable collection of algorithms, datasets, and neural networks that can be taken and deployed onto essentially any traditional ground vehicle. The goal is a plug-and-play brain that turns a standard military asset into a fully autonomous off-road machine that navigates complex environments without needing GPS or pre-mapped routes.
And the sheer spectrum of AI in combat here is stunning. While Ukraine is deploying nimble little drones, DARPA is successfully testing this software on massive, heavy machinery. In a major October 2025 demonstration with the U.S. Army, they took a racer vehicle, a massive 12-ton, 20-foot-long track behemoth, and literally let the autonomy stack take the wheel. It autonomously navigated deeply rugged terrain to transport a 1,000-pound mine-clearing line charge directly to its firing point entirely on its own.
In another field exercise, soldiers utilize this exact same racer technology to send autonomous ground machines a full 15 kilometers into rugged, hostile territory. Let that sink in. That's the equivalent of sending a 12-ton robot the entire length of a major city to conduct autonomous, long-range reconnaissance, all while the human soldiers stay completely out of harm's way behind friendly lines.
Section 4. The Cost of Speed, the Millisecond Dilemma.
When we synthesize this whole global tour, from Ukraine's acoustic drones to China's robotic wolf packs to DARPA's massive autonomous software stacks, we arrive at an ultimate, chilling consequence. The speed of warfare is accelerating beyond belief. In the old paradigm, a commander risked human lives to scout a position and then waited hours for that data to crawl back up the chain of command. Today, they get immediate, real-time intelligence from autonomous systems. The basic mechanics of war are speeding up entirely beyond human biological capability.
And this brings us to a really harsh operational reality that militaries are struggling with right now. When machines process immense amounts of data, share a collective brain, and make tactical decisions in mere milliseconds, where exactly is the space for human judgment? If our brains literally cannot process information as fast as the autonomy stack, human oversight stops being a safeguard, it becomes a bottleneck. In high-speed combat, humans are rapidly becoming a liability to their own machine's efficiency.
So think about this. When algorithms identify targets in the field, moving at 15 kilometers an hour or flying silently overhead, who verifies that they are actually correct? These aren't just abstract debates reserved for academic textbooks anymore. The systems are built, they are actively deployed. And as humans are increasingly pulled out of the loop to preserve speed and efficiency, these dilemmas demand answers today. Thanks for joining me for this explainer. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I'll see you next time.
Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a profound shift happening right this second on the modern battlefield. We're looking at the blinding speed of emerging military tech and the heavy, sometimes silent loss of human accountability that comes with it. You see, the commercial tech boom has collided with military applications, and the line between human choice and machine autonomy, well, it's blurring way faster than anyone expected. And that brings a massive moral cost we're really just starting to wrap our heads around. So let's just pause and ask a pretty chilling question. What actually happens when an algorithm decides who lives and who dies? Look, generative AI isn't just some futuristic sci-fi concept anymore. It's actively being woven into the actual fabric of military command. The Pentagon is already using these models in classified settings to analyze and prioritize vast target lists in real time. It completely changes the very nature of combat.
Which brings us to Section 1. The automation of targeting. This is the massive, rapid shift experts are talking about.
Officially, the whole ethical framework rests on this idea of keeping a human in the loop. Basically, a human operator is supposed to have the final say over any AI-generated target list. The ultimate failsafe, right? But when we look at how this actually plays out in a high-stress, high-stakes combat zone, we've got to ask, what does that control really look like? Are we genuinely in control, or are we kind of just pretending?
Think about the sheer scale of the data for a second. We're talking about thousands of hours of drone footage, satellite images, intercepted comms, all layered together in real time. For a human intelligence team to manually watch and analyze months of video, it's impossible. Our eyes get tired, our attention drifts. But in AI, it can chew through all that massive volume of data, cross-reference countless variables, and spit out targets in literally seconds. As humans, we're just physiologically incapable of matching that kind of horsepower.
And that creates this wild tension. You've got the instantaneous, blinding speed of the machine actively working against the slow, deliberate hesitation of human judgment. Human morality, by its very nature, takes time, you know? It requires a moment to weigh consequences, to understand the chaos of a battlefield. But the machine, it just gives you an answer right now. Navigating that friction between efficiency and ethics is incredibly tough.
Moving on to Section 2. Decision versus mere ratification. We're seeing a fundamental shift in the human role here.
Here's the crucial takeaway. Humans are no longer truly deciding. When an AI presents a mathematically confident target in seconds, backed by mountains of data a person couldn't possibly verify on the spot, the human operator shifts from making an active decision to basically rubber stamping it. They're ratifying a choice the algorithm already made. Psychologists call this automation bias. When a multi-million-dollar supercomputer tells you, hey, this target is 100% valid, it takes a massive amount of willpower and confidence to say, actually, hold on, I think the machine is wrong.
And that leads us right into Section 3, the accountability vacuum. This is where things get really dangerous.
Because the terrifying reality is, these incredibly fast machines are deeply flawed. We're so conditioned to trust computers as perfect calculators, but even the experts designing these systems openly admit they aren't 100% foolproof at avoiding unintended casualties. An algorithm that spots targets perfectly today might totally fail tomorrow just because the enemy tweaked their tactics. Or a system trained in an open desert might completely glitch out in a crowded, unpredictable city environment. The tech is fundamentally imperfect, yet it's being deployed with lethal intent.
So, here is the profound, unanswered moral question.
When the inevitable mistake happens, when the algorithm miscalculates and innocent civilian lives are lost, whose hands are actually tied to that fatal error? Is it the programmer who wrote the code 5 years ago, the commander who felt pressure to ratify it in the heat of battle, or the machine itself? Right now, there is absolutely zero clear framework for accountability. It's a complete legal and moral void.
To really grasp why that void is so dangerous, let's look at Section 4, the Global Autonomous Arms Race.
The massive gap between how fast this tech is moving and how slow our laws move is pretty alarming. For over 10 years, the United Nations has been totally paralyzed, debating lethal autonomous weapons without reaching any real consensus. They can't even agree on what human control means. Meanwhile, the tech is just sprinting ahead unchecked. By 2024, systems like Project Maven were already helping soldiers vet targets faster than ever. Fast forward just a 2-year jump to 2026, and Maven is enabling thousands of strikes in a single campaign. Bureaucracy moves in decades, the tech moves in months.
And the algorithms? They don't care about diplomatic debates in Geneva. While the international community argues over definitions, adversaries like China and Russia are reportedly already deploying weapons explicitly programmed to kill with zero human oversight. They're aggressively testing the absolute limits in real-world scenarios. That puts immense pressure on all nations to adopt the same tech just to keep up parity, which means our window for meaningful regulation, it might already be closing.
If there's one big lesson from the past decade, it's that technology moves way faster than governance. We've built machines that can think, decide, and act. We've given them the power to identify and recommend destruction without any clear legal framework for responsibility. We basically built this massive engine for automated warfare, but we completely failed to build the brakes. But despite that closing window, there is some reason for cautious hope among military leaders. That's Section 5, the ultimate human safeguard.
Military leaders are actually super aware of these moral dangers. Take this quote from a U.S. Army Major General. They said, "AI is a great tool, but it absolutely cannot replace command responsibility, risk acceptance, or a value-based foundation. Algorithms are brilliant at crunching massive amounts of data in the blink of an eye, sure, but they can't absorb moral risk. They can't carry the heavy human burden of command. They completely lack the ethics that define true leadership."
Ultimately, our strongest safeguard against all this isn't some fancy line of code or a better firewall. It's our very human ability to pause. It's our capacity to hesitate, to really feel the crushing weight of a life or death choice, and to actively reject a machine's answer when it just arrives a little too quickly. In an era obsessed with relentless speed, our uniquely human doubt is actually our biggest ethical asset.
The question isn't whether autonomous robots will shape the future of warfare. They already are. The tech is here, it's currently deployed, and it's evolving every single day. Our only remaining job is figuring out how to shape them back. We have to proactively set these ethical boundaries before the tech permanently removes human conscience from the equation entirely.
I want to leave you with this one final terrifying thought from the research. The machines are watching, calculating, and waiting. They'll never feel fear, and they'll never second-guess themselves. But because of that perfectly cold efficiency, they will also never understand mercy. They'll never feel compassion or comprehend the irreplaceable value of a single human life. If we surrender our decision-making to an algorithm just for the sake of speed, isn't that exactly what we stand to lose? Think about that for a bit. Thanks for joining me on This Explainer.